Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring something incredibly close to home, our brains. We're going to dig into how this amazing organ shapes some truly positive qualities, things like passion, self-control, even wisdom. And then the really empowering part, how we can, actively improve our brains to boost those qualities in ourselves. Our guide for this journey is the work of Dr. Daniel Amen, specifically his book, Superbrain.
That's right. And Dr. Amen, well, he's a huge name in brain science. People often call him the father of brain health in America. The Washington Post even rated him as America's most popular psychiatrist.
Wow.
Yeah, and his Amen clinics. There's something else. They have one of the world's biggest databases of brain science data. We're talking over 100,000 brain scans.
100,000 scans. That's a lot of data.
It's an incredible amount. It gives his insights a really solid foundation.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We've got this amazing resource. Our mission today: explore two main things from Dr. Amen's work. First, how does brain science actually explain these positive qualities we all want? And second, what's his plan, his practical plan for improving our brains? Seriously, get ready to think differently about your own brain potential.
Yeah.
Let's start with just, how complex the brain is. It's often called the most complex thing in the universe. Get this, 100 billion brain cells. And if you took a piece of brain tissue like the size of a grain of sand, it holds 100,000 neurons forming a billion connections. A billion.
It's staggering.
And the information speed: 431 kilometers per hour. That's what, 1.5 times faster than high-speed rail?
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, how does it all work? How do we even start talking about it simply?
That's a great point. And in brain science, we're careful with language. We usually say things are related to certain areas, not definitively caused by them, like a simple formula. So, for example, the prefrontal cortex, it's strongly related to self-control. It handles a lot of that function, absolutely. But the precise, nuts and bolts mechanism, that's still being researched.
Right, so it's about the functional link, even if the exact how is still unfolding.
Exactly.
So, to help us grasp this, Dr. Amen uses this really helpful analogy: the brain as a car, a high-performance car. Each brain region is like a specific part of the car. Understanding the parts helps us understand how the whole thing runs and how it influences us. Okay, so first off, a car needs fuel, obviously. For our brains, the fuel for things like passion, positive thinking, taking action that comes from our emotions, anticipation, hope, joy.
And that emotional fuel comes from the deep limbic system. You can think of it as the brain's fuel tank. What's really interesting is how a healthy deep limbic system colors our perception. It can assign a positive emotional tone to things that are otherwise neutral or even challenging. Well, imagine you get an urgent task at work. Someone with a really well-functioning deep limbic system might see that as, an exciting challenge, an opportunity.
Instead of just
Stress, exactly. Instead of immediate overwhelm, it sort of reflects a generally positive outlook, finding the potential in things.
makes sense. Okay, so you've got fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Every car, especially a fast one, also needs good brakes.
Absolutely essential.
Our brain's brake system, maybe its CEO, is the prefrontal cortex. This is the bit for planning, making decisions, and impulse control.
And it's hugely important. Ours is much larger compared to other animals, about 30% of our brain volume. Chimps have 11%, dogs 7%, cats only 3%.
So that size difference explains a lot about our abilities.
It really does. Our capacity for foresight, complex decisions, self-control. Now, if this area isn't healthy, it's like brake failure.
Total chaos.
Right. Impulsiveness, trouble following through, like a company where the CEO's gone and everyone just does whatever they feel like.
So if someone's always, say, clicking buy now without thinking,
Right.
could that point to an underperforming prefrontal cortex?
It certainly could be related, yeah. But interestingly, an overly active prefrontal cortex isn't good either.
Oh.
That's like slamming the brakes and the gas at the same time. You get stuck, or you become hypersensitive, anxious, overreacting to tiny things.
So it's about balance, not too little, not too much.
Precisely. A healthy, normal level of activity is the goal.
Okay, next part. A car needs a gear shift, right? To adjust speed, adapt to the road. Our brain's gear shift is the anterior cingulate gyrus. This helps with cognitive flexibility, shifting our attention.
Yeah, and when there are issues here, it can lead to, stubbornness.
Yeah.
Getting stuck.
Like stuck in a mental rut.
Exactly. In more serious cases, it looks like obsessive thoughts or actions, maybe constantly washing hands or checking locks.
I see.
But even milder issues show up, like chronic indecisiveness. Or think about mental road rage, getting stuck in anger over something small, like being cut off in traffic, and just not being able to let it go.
You mentioned that instinctive no to new ideas. I think we all know someone like that. Maybe we even do it ourselves sometimes, automatically resisting a new suggestion.
Absolutely. It's a very common, milder symptom that difficulty shifting attention can make us resist anything new or different, which really hampers innovation or trying better ways.
Fascinating how that ties back to a brain region.
Yeah.
Okay, what about navigating the world? Like driving, you need rear view mirrors to see what's around you, manage interactions.
Good analogy. Our brain's rearview mirrors are the temporal lobes. They process social information, helping us manage relationships.
Social information, like reading people.
Exactly. Other parts might get the literal word someone says, but the temporal lobes pick up the tone, the intonation, the volume, all those subtle cues. They help you sort of read the room, understand the subtext. If there are problems here, it can lead to social difficulties, trouble reading faces, or expressing your own intentions clearly.
Like driving blind in social situations.
Pretty much. You're bound to bump into things if you can't gauge what's happening around you.
Okay, moving on. A car needs a smooth transmission, right? To coordinate acceleration, braking, everything working together.
Yes, coordination is key.
The brain's transmission system is the cerebellum. It coordinates brain activity and also our physical actions.
And the cerebellum is surprising. It's only about 10% of the brain's volume, but it contains half of all the brain's neurons, 50%.
Wow. In just 10% of the space.
Yeah, it's incredibly dense. This little powerhouse enables complex, coordinated actions, speaking clearly, articulating thoughts smoothly, complex movements in sports.
Stuff is not working well.
Low activity can lead to clumsiness, poor coordination, things like an awkward walk, messy handwriting, or just generally disorganized actions and thoughts. It's crucial for that smooth, integrated function.
Makes sense. All right, one last car part. Emergencies. Cars have airbags.
Right, the safety system.
Our brain's stress response system, it's kind of airbag, is the basal ganglia.
Exactly. The basal ganglia helps coordinate our emotional responses with physical reactions in sudden situations. Think about freezing when you're scared, or jumping when surprised, or that instinct to flee danger. Those emergency reactions rely heavily on the basal ganglia.
Okay.
But just like with the prefrontal cortex, overactivity is a problem. An overactive basal ganglia is like a hypersensitive airbag.
Goes off too easily.
Precisely. It leads to hypersensitivity, overreacting to minor things. You might see a slight disagreement as major hostility, or get way too excited over a small compliment and dwell on it.
Like the airbag deploying from a tiny bump.
That's a perfect way to put it. Those big emotional swings in response to small triggers often point to an overactive basal ganglia.
Phew. Okay, so that's the brain as a car tour. Deep limbic system is the fuel tank passion. Prefrontal cortex, the brakes, self-control. Anterior cingulate gyrus, the gear shift flexibility. Temporal lobes, rear view mirrors, social skills. Cerebellum, transmission coordination. And basal ganglia, the airbag stress response.
A good summary.
So, what does this all mean? It means this incredible machine needs maintenance, right? Which brings us to the big question. How do we look after it? How do we improve it?
And this is where it gets really practical and honestly quite exciting, because maintaining the brain draws on so much brain science, psychology, even philosophy. It acknowledges we're whole beings.
It really highlights that holistic view, doesn't it? It's not just biology.
Not at all.
So Dr. Amen, using all those scans and his experience, put together what he calls a daily maintenance plan. It's very practical, covering your whole day, wake up to bedtime. Let's start with one that sounds familiar, but maybe deeper than we think. Eating well. Dr. Amen really emphasizes this. You are what you eat, but with a twist. Get this. Every 5 months or so, your body basically rebuilds itself using the food you've eaten, the actual cells.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it.
Right. So the you, 5 months from now, is literally being constructed from what you eat today.
And the connection to the brain is direct. The gut is often called the second brain. Why? Because it produces more neurotransmitters than the brain itself.
More than the brain, seriously.
Yes, those chemicals regulate energy, mood, focus. So the quality of your food directly impacts the production of these vital brain chemicals. Better food, better neurotransmitters, better brain function, simple as that.
So what does he recommend eating?
Quality proteins, fish, chicken, lean pork. Complex carbs that are low in sugar, think whole grains, fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, avocados, nuts. And he really pushes antioxidant-rich rainbow foods.
Rainbow foods.
Yeah, things with vibrant colors, blueberries, carrots, grapes. Those colors often signal powerful compounds that protect the brain. It's about giving your brain the best building blocks.
Okay, makes sense. Fueling the rebuild.
Next up, Regular exercise. Again, seems obvious, but what are the brain-specific benefits he highlights?
Well, the obvious one is increased blood flow. More oxygen, glucose, nutrients reaching the brain, keeps it running smoothly.
Standard stuff. But it goes much deeper. Exercise actually triggers the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of it like fertilizer for your neurons.
Fertilizer for the brain. I like that.
It nourishes neural growth. And even more amazing, exercise stimulates the growth of new brain cells, especially in the prefrontal cortex, our CEO, and the temporal lobes, our social processors.
Wait, exercise grows new brain cells?
It stimulates the process, yes. But here's the fascinating catch. These new cells are fragile. They only last about 4 weeks if you don't stimulate them.
So they can just disappear?
They can die off, yes.
Yeah.
So how do you stimulate them? How do you make them stick?
Oh.
Learning and reading.
So exercise and learning work together.
It's a powerful partnership. Exercise helps grow the new cells, and learning activates them, strengthens them, integrates them into your network, like planting seeds and then watering them.
That's really cool. What kind of exercise does he like best?
His top pick might surprise you. Ping-pong. Table tennis.
Ping-pong.
Several reasons. It's safe, low risk of head impact. It's fast-paced, and it engages everything, your whole body, your brain, your eyes tracking the ball. He actually did tests showing just 10 minutes of ping pong significantly boosted activity in the prefrontal cortex and the cerebellum.
Hitting those key zones for control and coordination.
Exactly. But of course, other aerobic exercise is great too. Jogging, brisk walking, jump rope, whatever gets your heart rate up safely.
Okay, exercise grows cells, learning strengthens them. Got it. Now, this last point in the maintenance plan. It sounds maybe less scientific at first glance. He says spend time each day thinking about things that make you happy.
It might sound that way, but there's solid brain science behind it. Think about practicing a sport, like soccer.
Totally.
The more you repeat a move, the stronger those muscles become, the more automatic the movement gets.
Sure, muscle memory.
Well, it's similar with thought patterns. Specific thoughts use specific neural pathways. When you deliberately recall happy memories or focus on positive things, you're literally strengthening the brain regions associated with happiness. You're making those pathways stronger, easier to activate again in the future.
So happiness isn't just something that happens to you.
Exactly. It's also a capacity, a skill you can build with practice. This helps explain why optimistic people often seem to get more optimistic and, sadly, why pessimism can become a reinforcing cycle.
Your thoughts are physically shaping your brain's potential for future feelings.
Precisely. You're sculpting your brain with your thoughts.
Wow. Okay, let's quickly recap this deep dive then. First, we look at the brain's car parts. The limbic system for fuel and passion, prefrontal cortex for brakes and control, basal ganglia for stress, and so on, and how they shape us. And second, Dr. Amen's daily maintenance. Eat well to literally rebuild your brain cells. Exercise to grow new cells and nourish them. And think happy thoughts to strengthen those happiness pathways.
And I think the core message from Dr. Amen, the real power here, isn't just listing what to do. Many of us kind of know we should eat well or exercise.
Right, we hear it all the time.
But understanding the why, the actual brain science, seeing how these actions physically change your brain, that provides the belief, the motivation. It makes you want to do it consistently because you understand the profound impact.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means you genuinely have more control, more agency over your brain health, and therefore your passion, your self-control, your happiness, than you probably thought possible. So here's a final thought to leave you with. Given that our brains are constantly changing, renewing cells, strengthening pathways based on what we do and think every single day, what deliberate steps will you take starting today to actively sculpt the brain and the you of tomorrow?